Oh, are you ready to take a deep dive with us?
Always excited to dive in.
Perfect. Because today we're tackling the world of prophets and messengers in Islam. And we've got this incredible source that breaks down their lives, their lineages, their whole deal.
It's a topic that always fascinates, right?
I'll make it
So many questions.
exactly. Like, what even is the difference between a prophet and a messenger? Are there any, disputed figures? How many are we even talking about here? We're going to get to all that.
All right.
Plus some seriously interesting facts like, did you know some of these prophets had regular jobs?
Regular people chosen for extraordinary purposes.
Yeah, and get this, one of them is even said to be alive today.
Oh, that's a story I can't wait to unpack.
Me too. Okay, let's jump right in, shall we? Our source starts by laying out the key difference between prophets nabi in Arabic and messengers rasul.
Right. Two terms we often hear, but what sets them apart?
Yeah, they both sound pretty important.
They are, but the distinction lies in their mission. While both receive revelation from God, right, messengers are specifically tasked with spreading that message to their people.
Okay, so it's like a prophet receives this divine knowledge,
Exactly.
but a messenger is told, go share this with the world.
Exactly. It's about communicating that revelation, not just receiving it.
Ah, that makes sense. It's like having an idea versus writing a whole book about it to share.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, so are there any examples in our source that, really illustrate this?
Absolutely. Take Yahya, for example, John the Baptist.
Right.
He's mentioned as a prophet.
Got it.
He received divine revelation.
Uh-huh.
But his primary role wasn't like establishing new laws or delivering a whole new message.
Gotcha.
On the flip side, we have Muhammad. He's recognized as both a prophet and a messenger. He received the Quran, considered the final revelation from God, and was commanded to share it with all humanity.
Whoa, that is a heavy responsibility.
It is.
Imagine being entrusted with that,
To deliver that message.
to carry that weight. I mean, I'm sure it was an honor, but also, intense.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, I bet a lot of our listeners are wondering just how many prophets and messengers were there.
Ah, yes, the age-old question.
Is there even, a specific number?
Well, the Quran itself doesn't give us a concrete number,
Interesting.
but it does confirm that many prophets existed before Muhammad,
Okay.
emphasizing that God has sent messengers to every nation throughout history.
So, a continuous chain of guidance.
Exactly, but our source cites some hadith that offer a bit more insight.
Ooh, I love a good hadith. What do they say?
So one narrated by Abu Dar mentions 313 prophets.
313? That's already a lot.
Right. But there's another hadith that mentions a staggering 124,000 prophets and 315 messengers.
Whoa, wait, hold on. 124,000? That's mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it? It paints this vast picture of divine communication throughout history.
It really highlights the scope, right?
Yeah.
God's been talking to us for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got this huge number of prophets and messengers.
Right.
But I'm curious, were there any figures whose, status as a prophet is a bit blurry?
You mean not as clear-cut as the major figures?
Yeah. Are there any whose role is debated?
Actually, yes. Our source does mention a few. We've got Dul-Qarnain, Tuba, Al-Qidr, Luqman, and even the brothers of Yusuf. Joseph.
Okay, those names ring a bell, but I could definitely use a refresher on their stories. What makes them so uncertain?
Well, each figure has a compelling story, but the evidence for their prophethood isn't as clear as it is for others.
So it's like a historical mystery. We have these clues, but the full picture isn't totally there.
It is, and that's what makes studying Islamic history so fascinating. It's not just about accepting facts, but engaging with these complexities.
I love that. It's like we're invited to be detectives of history, piecing together these puzzles.
Exactly.
But even if there's debate about their prophethood, I'm guessing their stories still hold some valuable lessons, right?
Absolutely. Regardless of their prophetic status, their stories offer insights into human nature, faith, morality. They make us think about leadership, power, the choices we make.
I see. It's like their lives serve as case studies, offering wisdom whether they were officially prophets or not. Makes sense. Now, our source also highlights this group called the Ulu Azm, which translates to those of determination.
Right.
Who are these figures and what makes them so special?
The Ulu Azm. These are the 5 most resolute messengers.
Okay.
We're talking about Muhammad, Abraham, Noah, Musa, Moses, and Isa, Jesus.
Wow, that's like the all-star team of prophets.
It is. They're the ones known for their unwavering commitment to spreading God's message, even when facing incredible hardships.
I can only imagine the challenges they faced.
Rejection, persecution, threats to their lives.
Yeah.
Yet they never wavered in their faith.
That's power.
They're held up as examples of incredible patience, perseverance, devotion to God.
They sound like the ultimate role models, showing us that strength comes from believing in something bigger than ourselves. But were they always serious? Like, were there moments of, humor and lightness too?
That's a great question. It's easy to think of them as these larger-than-life figures.
Yeah.
But they were also human beings with personalities and experiences.
Okay, so tell me, what are some of those fascinating details about their lives that make them, really come alive?
Well, for starters, did you know that Nu preached for 950 years?
Wait, 950 years?
Almost a millennium dedicated to spreading his message.
That's some serious dedication. It makes you wonder what kept him going for so long. What do you think?
It's fascinating to ponder, isn't it? What drove him to persevere?
It makes you think about the power of belief and, the depths of human resilience.
Absolutely.
Okay, so besides preaching for almost 1,000 years, what other fascinating details does our source mention? Any, miraculous moments?
Oh, are there ever? These stories are packed with awe-inspiring events that challenge our understanding of what's possible.
All right, hit me with it.
Well, first, we have Musa, or Moses, his staff transforming into a serpent right in front of the Pharaoh.
Now that's a classic.
Right, symbolizing God's power, challenging the Pharaoh's authority.
It must have been mind-blowing to witness.
And then there's Salah, whose she-camel emerges from a rock.
A camel from a rock. Talk about defying logic.
It's a symbol of God's ability to provide, even when it seems impossible.
Makes you think about the limits of our understanding and the boundless possibilities of faith.
Exactly.
And of course, we have Abraham being protected from fire.
When he was thrown into it.
Yeah, talk about unwavering belief, even when facing the impossible.
A testament to the power of faith as a shield.
Truly inspiring.
And then there's the story of Suleiman Solomon. He was granted dominion over jinn and birds, and could even understand their languages.
Whoa, imagine talking to animals. What secrets would they reveal?
It's a glimpse into a world beyond our perception, suggesting a hidden language connecting all beings.
It really makes you wonder about all the things we don't and maybe can't comprehend.
Right.
But in the midst of all these incredible miracles, we can't forget what's considered the greatest miracle of all, the Quran itself, revealed to Prophet Muhammad.
Absolutely. The Quran is a miracle that transcends time and continues to inspire and guide millions today.
It's a reminder that the power of words, the message they carry, can have such a profound impact on humanity. But you know what I find really interesting about these prophets?
What's that?
They weren't just spiritual figures. They had
No.
ordinary lives, jobs, responsibilities, just like everyone else.
Exactly.
Our source lists some of their professions, and honestly, some of them are pretty surprising. Ready for a quick rundown?
Absolutely. Always fascinated by the human side of these extraordinary figures.
All right, let's go. Zachariah was a carpenter.
A carpenter.
Yeah. Imagine him crafting things with his own hands.
It's a beautiful image. It shows that even those chosen by God were embedded in their communities, contributing their skills.
It reminds us that every act of creation can be a form of worship.
Right.
Okay, next up, David, was a blacksmith.
Wow, a blacksmith. It makes you think about the strength and resilience required in that profession, forging something beautiful from raw materials.
Yeah, like a metaphor for the challenges they faced in their lives.
Shaping their destinies through strength.
Absolutely. And finally, our Prophet Muhammad had a career in shepherding and trade before his revelation.
It's a detail often overlooked.
Right.
But it's crucial. It shows he wasn't born into power or privilege. He lived a humble life, connecting with people.
It makes his story even more inspiring, wouldn't you say? Anyone has the potential to be chosen.
Absolutely. It's a message of hope that greatness can come from anywhere.
Powerful stuff. Okay, so we've got this incredible foundation now.
We do.
We've explored the difference between prophets and messengers, touched on those debated figures, and met the Ulu Azm.
Those resolute messengers.
But there's so much more to uncover. Are you ready to delve deeper into the stories of these prophets and messengers?
I'm ready when you are. Their adventures, challenges, those profound lessons, it's all waiting to be explored.
All right, let's dive in. Okay, so we talked about those figures whose status as prophets is a bit, up for debate.
Right, those fascinating cases.
Gulkarnain, Tuba, Al-Khidr, Luqman, and the brothers of Yusuf. Could we maybe unpack their stories a little? They seem shrouded in mystery.
Absolutely. Let's start with Dhul-Qarnayn. He's mentioned in the Quran, known for his travels, encountering all these different cultures. Some scholars believe he was this righteous king, Maybe even Alexander the Great, spreading justice and knowledge.
Wow, Alexander the Great, that's a pretty big claim.
It is. Others see his story more as a metaphor for the spread of Islam itself.
So it's like his identity is this puzzle. Makes you think how much of history is like that, where fact and legend kind of blend together.
It's a great point. It speaks to the challenge of historical interpretation. We have these pieces, these fragments of information, and we try to build a narrative.
But sometimes the answers just aren't clear cut.
Exactly, which is part of what makes studying history so captivating.
I totally agree. Okay, what about Tuba? What's so interesting about his story?
Qurtuba refers to these ancient rulers of Yemen, known for their power and influence.
Got it.
The debate is whether some of them were righteous, possibly prophets, or simply powerful kings.
So it makes you think about what makes a good leader, right?
Absolutely. Is it enough to just be powerful? Or does there need to be this element of righteousness, of divine guidance?
It's a question we still grapple with today, isn't it? When we look at leaders around the world, what do you think? What makes a truly great leader?
That's a tough one. There's no easy answer. But I do think the stories of these prophets and messengers offer some clues. They emphasize things like justice, compassion, integrity, a deep sense of purpose.
So it's not just about holding power, but how you use it.
Exactly. It's about using it for good, for the betterment of humanity.
I like that. Okay, let's move on to, I think, one of the most mysterious figures, Al-Qadr. Every time I hear his story, I have more questions than answers.
Al-Qadr is definitely unique. He's believed to be this wise servant of God possessing special knowledge, abilities.
Right. But his actions in the Quran often seem illogical.
They do. It's full of symbolism. And it ultimately teaches us about God's will and then the limits of our own understanding.
It's like a parable where every action has a deeper meaning. Makes you think about the different ways knowledge is revealed.
And how sometimes we have to let go of our own ideas, our expectations, to really learn.
It's about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. Trusting in a greater plan, even if we don't fully grasp it.
That's a tough one, but so important, especially today when we're always trying to control everything, you know?
It is. It's a reminder that there's wisdom in letting go.
Okay, let's talk about Luqman. I remember his story being full of, wise sayings and teachings.
Luqman is interesting because even though his prophet status is debated, his wisdom is highly respected. He's portrayed as this man who received divine wisdom and shared it with his son.
So it's the wisdom itself that matters, not necessarily the label.
Right. It suggests we can learn from anyone, regardless of their title or status. Wisdom can come from unexpected places.
That's a great reminder to be open to learning from everyone, you know?
Absolutely. Humility and open-mindedness are key.
Okay, last but not least, we have the story of the brothers of Yusuf, or Joseph.
Ah, yes. A classic tale.
It's got drama, betrayal, but ultimately forgiveness.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the midst of all that conflict, there is still potential for redemption, for reconciliation.
It's all about forgiveness, isn't it? Both giving it and receiving it.
It's transformative, can heal even the most strained relationships.
It makes you think about second chances and how compassion and understanding can really bridge those divides.
Absolutely. We're all capable of making mistakes, but we're also capable of growth, forgiveness, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is. Okay, so we've explored these debated figures, but now I want to circle back to the Ulul Azam.
Those 5 resolute messengers.
Exactly. Muhammad, Ibrahim, Nuh, Musa, and Isa. We talked about their unwavering commitment, but now I'm curious about them as individuals, you know? What were their personalities like?
Each had their own unique personality, of course, but they all shared certain qualities that made them exceptional leaders, exemplars of faith.
Okay, let's go through them one by one, starting with Muhammad. What was he like beyond his role as a prophet?
Muhammad was known for his honesty, integrity, compassion, and humility. He was deeply loved by his followers, who saw him as a true guide.
So he was a relatable figure.
He was, and he was known for his eloquence, his ability to connect with people from all walks of life.
He wasn't just a spiritual leader, but a skilled communicator, too.
Exactly. He made complex ideas accessible, which was key to spreading his message.
What about Ibrahim? He's considered the father of monotheism, right?
He is, revered for his unwavering belief in one God, even when everyone else believed in many gods.
That must have taken incredible courage to challenge those societal norms.
It did. He was a pioneer of faith, willing to risk everything for what he believed in.
That's incredible. What about Nu? We talked about him preaching for 950 years. Talk about patience. What else can we learn from his story?
New embodies resilience, unwavering faith in the face of constant rejection. He never gave up.
He never lost hope.
Exactly. Even when all seemed lost.
That's a powerful message. Never give up hope. What about Musa, leading the Israelites out of Egypt? That's a story of liberation, divine intervention. What made him such a strong leader?
Musa was chosen by God to confront the Pharaoh directly, to demand the release of his people from slavery.
That's intense.
It was. He faced immense pressure. Yet he stood firm. He was a skilled negotiator, courageous, and a man of deep faith.
He inspired his people to believe in a better future.
He did. And finally, we have Isa, or Jesus.
What can we learn from his life, his teachings?
Isa is revered in Islam as a prophet and messenger. He taught love, compassion, forgiveness. His story highlights the importance of empathy, treating others with kindness and respect, no matter what.
A message that's so needed today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. We need more empathy, more understanding.
It's a reminder that we should always try to see the humanity in each other.
Beautifully said. The stories of these prophets offer timeless wisdom. They can guide us towards a more just, compassionate, and meaningful life.
It's really amazing, all these prophets from different times, different places, facing different challenges. But there's this common thread, this unwavering faith, this dedication to something bigger than themselves.
It's powerful, isn't it? It shows that their message, it's universal. It's about those fundamental truths about being human. Our relationship with the divine, it goes beyond time and culture.
Yeah, it's like their stories are these blueprints for life, right? How to deal with challenges, find meaning in a world that can feel so, I don't know, overwhelming sometimes.
It's true. But it's not just about the big picture either. We can learn so much from their individual stories, their specific experiences.
Absolutely. We see their courage, their resilience, their compassion. Even when they make mistakes, they never give up on what they believe in.
They keep going. And I think that's a big lesson for all of us. We all struggle, we all stumble, but it's about getting back up and striving to be better.
So true. And it's not just about personal growth either. It's about the impact these prophets had on the world. They changed societies, inspired movements.
Their teachings on justice, equality, compassion, they fueled so many fights for a better world, giving a voice to those who were silenced, challenging systems of oppression.
And it goes beyond activism, too. Think about art, literature, music. So much creativity has been sparked by their stories. They've touched every corner of human culture.
Their influence is undeniable. Even centuries later, their message of hope, of faith, of love, it still resonates with us.
It really does. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you'd want to leave our listener with? What's the most important thing we can learn from these prophets and messengers?
I think it's realizing that even though they seem larger than life, their stories are about human potential. We all have that capacity for greatness within us, the ability to make a difference, to stand up for what's right, to live a life of meaning and purpose.
And especially in today's world, when we're bombarded with so much negativity, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But their stories show us there's always hope, always a chance for change, always room for growth.
It's important to remember that their paths weren't always smooth either. They had doubts, fears, setbacks. But their faith, their commitment, it helped them through it all.
Yeah, faith isn't just about believing blindly. It's about finding that strength to keep going even when things are tough, trusting that there's a bigger plan even when we can't see it.
Beautifully said. And engaging with these stories, it's a journey. It's not just about knowing the facts. It's about reflecting on their lives, asking questions, and figuring out how to apply their wisdom to our own lives.
So as we end this deep dive, we invite you, our listener, to keep exploring. Read their stories, think about their teachings, and let their unwavering faith inspire you.
And as you do, ask yourself, if you could talk to any of these prophets, who would it be? What would you ask? What wisdom are you searching for?
I love that. It's like planting a seed of curiosity, encouraging everyone to go on their own deep dive.
And who knows what they might discover?